That single idea, right there, from the psychologist who first defined this whole concept, that is the very heart of what we're exploring today. It's not about chilling out, it's about rewarding challenge. Hello to all viewers of my channel. Today, we're going to decode one of the most powerful and honestly sought-after states of mind, a state of peak performance and deep enjoyment that I guarantee you felt before, even if you didn't have a name for it. Okay, so let's get right into it. We've all heard people talk about being in the zone, or in the pocket, or just totally locked in. Well, it turns out there's a real scientific name for that experience, the flow state. And trust me, understanding it can be a total game changer. So what is it really? At its core, flow is a state of complete and total absorption. It's that feeling when you're so deep into an activity that everything else just melts away. Your actions and your awareness literally become one single seamless thing. It's this incredible feeling of effortless momentum. You know, this whole concept was first really pinned down back in the 1970s. This psychologist, Csikszentmihalyi, he noticed that artists would get so lost in their work, they'd forget to eat, sleep, anything. So he started interviewing them, and not just them, but surgeons, chess players, athletes, and they all kept using this same metaphor. They said it felt like being carried along by a water current. And just like that, the name flow was born. So what does it actually feel like when you're in that state? It's not just one thing. It's more like a combination of several really distinct components that all come together to create this amazing optimal experience. First up, your sense of self kind of vanishes. You know that nagging little voice in your head, the one that questions everything you do? It goes completely silent. All that self-doubt and hesitation, gone. It frees you up to just act, trusting your instincts completely. Next, time gets weird, and I mean really weird. You get so wrapped up in what you're doing, so focused on the present moment, that hours can literally feel like minutes. The clock just ceases to exist because the only thing that matters is the now. Then there's this incredible sense of control. Even if what you're doing is super difficult, you feel totally in command. It's like you can't make a wrong move. Your performance just feels fluid, powerful, and almost effortless. And this all leads to what's called an autotelic experience. I know, it's a fancy word, but it just means the activity becomes its own reward. You're not doing it for a paycheck or for praise from others. You're doing it simply for the sake of doing it, because the process itself is just that satisfying. So that's what it feels like. The big question is, how do we get there? Well, this brings us to the absolute golden rule for triggering flow. Finding that perfect, delicate balance between how hard a task is and how good you are at it. We're basically looking for that just right spot, that sweet spot where you're pushed right to the edge of your limits, but you're not completely overwhelmed. People often call this the Goldilocks zone. This chart explains it perfectly. Think about it. If a task is way too easy for your skill level, you get bored, right? If it's way too hard, you feel anxious and stressed out. And if there's low challenge and you've got low skill, that's just apathy. But that sweet spot in the top right corner, where a high challenge meets your high skill level, that's it. That's the channel where flow lives. I love how the performance expert Stephen Kotler puts it. It's all about stretching yourself, but not snapping. Flow happens right on that edge. Fully engaged, giving it your all, but not so far that you break. It's a state of productive, even joyful struggle. So let's geek out for a second. What is actually happening inside our brains when we hit that zone? Biologically, it's pretty fascinating. Our brain is basically shutting some things down to supercharge others. Okay, the key mechanism has a really long name. Transient Hypofrontality. Sounds complicated, but here's the deal. Parts of your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for your inner critic and all that self-doubt, they temporarily quiet down. Your brain is basically making a trade. It silences the critic to free up energy for faster, more intuitive performance. We can actually see this happen in our brain waves too. When you're in a normal, conscious state, your brain is humming along with these fast-moving beta waves. But when you hit flow, it shifts down a gear into slower alpha and theta waves. That's the brain's signature for relaxed alertness, for creativity, and for recognizing patterns. And this whole state is fueled by this incredible neurochemical cocktail. You've got dopamine jacking up your focus and making the whole thing feel amazing. You've got norepinephrine boosting your alertness. And you have serotonin bringing this sense of calm and well-being to the party. It's a state of energized yet totally controlled focus. Now for the best part. Flow isn't just some magic thing that happens by accident. You can actually actively create the right conditions to experience it way more often. So let's look at a practical toolkit to get you there. 3 conditions are absolutely essential. First, you need crystal clear goals. You have to know exactly what you're supposed to do next. Second, the activity has to give you immediate feedback, so you know how you're doing and you can adjust on the fly. And third, and this one is huge, you have to eliminate distractions. Protecting your focus is everything. And if you're wondering if all this effort is worth it, yeah, look at this number. A McKinsey study found that top executives reported being up to 5 times, that's 500%, more productive when they were in a state of flow. That is insane. That's like getting a whole week's worth of work done by the end of Monday. But at the end of the day, the real engine of flow is intrinsic motivation. You are far more likely to find it when you're doing something you genuinely, truly care about. When your work lines up with your passion, your purpose, or even just your curiosity, you are setting the perfect stage for peak performance. Which brings us back around to the big idea here. We're often taught that happiness is found in relaxing and taking it easy. But what if that's not the whole story? What if real, lasting fulfillment isn't found in comfort, but in challenge? What if the secret to a good life is found in flow? Hey, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel and give this a like. And let me know what topics you'd like to see in future videos down in the comments.